busy, running here and there, doing this, staying up late, watching TV, finally going to sleep when we're exhausted, and then waking up just in time to go to work, watching more TV first, and then work, and then we just do this cycle, and we never have any time for rest. We never have any time for quiet to listen to that still small voice. What I'm telling you today is we'd find ourselves seeking out prophets a lot less if we began to realize that still small voice is within ourselves. We'd find ourselves being led astray a lot less as we begin to be quiet and listen to that still small voice. I'm telling you, all these things that we're about, all these things that we're doing, all these bad habits, all these negativities, all the things that we have embraced that's affecting us negatively, all these things that we're doing is keeping us from being what we've been called to be, disciples of Jesus. Jesus heard his Father clearly. We know that, right? And we're supposed to be like Jesus. That's what a disciple is. A disciple walks with the Master, waits on the Master, and garners every kind of knowledge and insight, anything they can from the Master as a disciple walks with the Master and begins to learn and understand. And you know, one of the problems we have today, you know, where the disciples, you know, they had a one-up on us, is that they actually got to walk with Jesus, be with Jesus, listen to him speak, sit there, break bread with him, and get advice, you know. You know, we don't have that. But if we just be a little bit more quiet, and even interact with like older folks, and just try to take advice and look for things. Sometimes I read books. I read books even that are outside of the religion of Christianity. I read books that are spiritual books, that are psychology books, that are nature books, that are yoga books, that are martial art books. I read anything, and when you're grounded in the relationship that you know you have with God, you could read anything, and I might read a whole article and find one sentence in there that speaks to me, and I can apply it to what I'm going through. I was reading a book today. It was a book on yoga, and I wrote down, and I'll practice yoga. And I used to practice a martial art, and I understand, you know, certain spiritual things. And you know, and my wife kind of trips about that too. But I'm not gonna, you know, I'm grounded in God and all. But I was reading this magazine today, and I think it was like the yoga book, Yoga Today or something like that. And I got two things out of that book that really spoke to me. Now, I'm still a Christian. I haven't changed much. But I got a piece of insight out of a book on yoga, and they were quoting Gandhi. And Gandhi said, he made this statement, he said, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." Man, that's exactly what we're talking about today. You must be the change that you wish to see in the world. We see all these things that are jacked up in the world. We see what's wrong. We see this and that. And we complain about it. And we even protest about it. You know, oh, no, don't let them do that. They can't, you know. We protest against people that are lost so they can't do what they want to do. We must be the change that we wish to see in the world. Be like Jesus. Be the example that people begin to gravitate toward, that people want to be like, that people want to touch, and when they touch, even their issues the fountains of their issues are dried up from within. And I was reading the same book, and I was and the other statement I got was from this guy. He was like a yoga teacher, some guy from India, and he wrote. But they were talking about advancement, you know, in this spiritual realm of whatever they were about. But I applied it to, you know, what we're about. And he said, and this woman was asking him, you know, about the steps to advancement, you know, on levels of spirituality and, you know, whatever it was they were doing. And he said, and now take what he said. This is what I do when I read these books of spirituality, of other religions or whatever, and I pick what I can get out of it and apply it, you know, to what I believe. And this is what he said. He said, advancement, because we're always in the Christian religion trying to get to the next level, right? I want to get to the next level in God and the Lord. I'm standing in prayer lines to be on the next level. The preachers are saying you're getting ready to go to the next level, all this stuff, right? It's the same thing. And this man said this. He said, advancement is not in the next step, but in advancing within the step you have taken. In other words, mastering and perfecting that step. See, we're always trying to get to the next step, but the first step that we're on, just perfect that. There's so much in that step. in that walk, in that relationship with God that we miss. Even wanting to go up the levels of spirituality is in itself flesh. I remember once, I was telling you, I get my information. Remember that Kung Fu program, years ago? You have to be a little bit up there, but there was Kwai Chang Caine, the Chinese guy in the Old West, he was from the Shaolin monk in China, and he was walking barefoot, giving words of wisdom and all. I remember this one episode when he was remembering back as a child when he was in this monastery. And see, he was like half American, half Chinese, and he was kind of ostracized by the other students and all. And he came to the temple as a young boy, wanting to learn Kung Fu and be a monk and all. But the head guy, just had him sweeping the floor, and he was just sweeping the floor. And one day, the head guy came up to him, it was like 6 months, and all he had done was sweep the floor. He said, have you been sweeping the floor long, grasshopper? And he said, yes, a long time. He said, how long? He said, not long. And he just kept on sweeping. I'm telling you, wanting to go up that spiritual ladder, wanting to walk up the steps, get to the next level in spirituality, in sort of in a spiritual sense, drops you down a step. Because even desiring to go up the steps is flesh. Look, it looks like we've run out of time. We're going to pick up on this, in the next program. But in the meantime, I want to thank you for joining me for another perspective. And I do want to leave you with this one tidbit. You know what it is. It's that God truly, truly loves you. He really does. And so do I.